Thank you all for being here. This is an important topic. It's an important subject. I know we don't necessarily all agree and see it the same way, but that's why we have vibrant discussion. That's what we do in this country, is we talk about it in a professional way, in a civil way, and we have this discussion. And so I want to thank the witnesses. We have done something that's unprecedented, and the number of witnesses that the Democrats have asked for are all here. We have a rather large and distinguished panel. We're going to have a good and vibrant discussion. I did notice when we came in that there were a number of, at least a few signs and whatnot. We're responsible to keep the rules and decorum. If you want to show off those signs and wave them and do all you want, you can do that right now. But as we get going during the hearing, I would ask that you please refrain from doing so. It's part of the way we have a good, fair discussion on these issues. So if you have those signs, you're free to show them right now. Wave them all you want, but to do so during the hearing while somebody's speaking is not the level of respect that we would ask from everybody on both sides of this important issue. So protecting the sacred right to freely exercise your religion is the First Amendment to the Constitution for a reason. It has been and still is a fundamental part of the foundation of our nation. The First Amendment Defense Act, or FADA, has some very important goals. The legislation is intended to ensure the tax-exempt status of religious institutions is not unfairly threatened. This was an issue acknowledged by the Solicitor General during arguments before the Supreme Court. When asked by Justice Alito whether a religious institution could lose its tax-exempt status if it opposed same-sex marriage, the Solicitor General responded, and I quote, "I don't think I can answer that question without knowing more specifics, but it's certainly going to be an issue. I don't deny that, Justice Alito. It's going to be an issue," end quote. And I do believe that this is an issue that needs to be addressed. FADA attempts to ensure that no one is discriminated against based on how they view marriage. I am an original co-sponsor of this piece of legislation. There have been some updates to this legislation. So if you are looking at the older piece of legislation, I would highly encourage you as swiftly as you can to go online at Raul Labrador's, who's testifying, who's the sponsor, the House sponsor of this bill, has posted this online. And I would encourage anybody who's in the listening audience to look at that most recent version of this important bill. I recognize the sensitive nature of this, the emotion that's attached to it, but I hope that today doesn't divide into too much of a politically charged discussion about what divides us, but just it's important for me, my vantage point, just because you're for one thing doesn't mean you're against another thing. And that's an important discussion, important distinction. It is also important to me that we have the right to freely exercise religion. Religion is part of the foundation of this nation. Religion is part of what so many Americans believe in, but it's their choice to believe in it. Does not mean I want to hurt or strip somebody else of their rights, their pursuit of happiness. As members of Congress, we have a responsibility to engage in a way that is consistent with what the First Amendment teaches us, to be open-minded and respectful of all Americans' experiences and beliefs, especially when they disagree. And today we have that opportunity to have this vibrant discussion and lead by example. We are fortunate to have the two sponsors of FADA that are here. Senator Lee is the Senate sponsor, a colleague of mine from the great state of Utah. We also have Representative Raul Labrador, who is the House sponsor, who is here to share some things. It is consistent with House practice. We typically, in the past, have allowed House and Senate members to come present on a separate panel, and then given the pressures in the few days that we have remaining before the recess period here, we typically will excuse them so that they can continue on with their duties and responsibilities. Given this, the second day here, we have a lot of hearings and a lot of other business happening. So we're going to ask them that they give their opening statements, then we will excuse them, but we will continue with the rest of the panel for their opening statements and their questions along the way. It's an important discussion. I'm glad we're having it. I appreciate them introducing this bill. And now recognize the ranking member, Mr. Cummings.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.